Back to school for Nashville parents means back to busy mornings. More showers, more laundry, more devices charging at once. Is your home ready for it? Right now, Hoffman Brothers is helping families get set up for the season with hundreds off of tankless water heaters, air scrubbers, whole home surge protectors, and washer and dryer purchases. For all of your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, and appliance needs, homeowners across Middle Tennessee trust Hoffman Brothers. Schedule your service today at hoffmanbros.com.
This is Your City Could Be Better, because it could be. I'm David Plotz. If you love your city and still complain about it, you're in the right place. Just last month, in July 2026, Madison, Wisconsin broke ground on what you might traditionally think of as a landfill. It is a landfill, but it is not just a landfill. It's slated to be what officials are calling a sustainability campus that will, in theory, force residents of Dane County, of Madison, to face how much they're throwing away and to figure out what both the county and its constituents could potentially do with what they're throwing away instead. Joining me to talk about this is Cast Madison host Bianca Martin. Welcome back to Your City Could Be Better, Bianca.
Yes, it's good to be with you, David.
So let us start with the most basic question. What is a landfill? What ends up in a landfill as opposed to being recycled?
Dane County actually runs a waste characterization study every 10 years, so we know what's literally in there.
Waste characterization study. What a great name.
Like what's in here, yeah. So like around 40% is organic material, food scraps, wasted food is about 20% of that, and then there's other things like diapers and pet waste, which folks are apparently constantly asking the city how they can compost, which is a lower on the priority level issue here. But also, paper, plastics, medical equipment. A big issue is mattresses going in. Dane County, has roughly 20,000 mattresses that go to the landfill each year. And those are real tricky because they don't compact. They catch up in the machinery. They start fires. And it turns out they're like 90 to 95% recyclable. So
that is amazing. I just had to dispose of a couple of mattresses here in my hometown of Washington, and that you have to arrange a whole bulk trash pickup for it. But it is, you look at it and you're like, this thing weighs a ton. I have no idea. I mean, it's never going to degrade into anything. That is fascinating. Okay, so you're building another landfill. Why are you building another landfill in Madison?
Yeah, we are, because we're almost out of room. Our current landfill that was made back in 1985 has about 2.5 years of life left with its own legs. So without this new landfill. And I learned recently that the permitting process for a brand new site takes about 10 years. So they have been working on this for the past 6 years and are celebrating right now because they got the permit. But yeah, we have 2.5 years left on our current landfill, and we need a place for our trash to go. I will say, are all Madisonians excited about the landfill? No, just to be fair and balanced. Of course, it's going somewhere. There was a local group, Neighbors for a Better Landfill, that raised concerns about impact, site's proximity to a school, wanting more public input. But the city, kept it moving. Feels like this is a really good option.
There are lots of places that are running out of space for trash, and it does make sense not just to buy more space to put more trash. It is also to try to mitigate what's being produced, reduce the amount, or find ways to reuse it. So the reason we're talking today, Bianca, is this is not a landfill. This is a sustainability campus. So what does that mean? What are they trying to do in the new sustainability campus that is interesting, exciting, better, that's going to make Madison better?
So they are zoning for a 25-acre business park. So it really isn't just a landfill. And I'll talk a bit about recreation and what can happen in the space for the community. But one of the biggest components of what makes this interesting is that the county's looking at making this cost-free for county taxpayers. And one way that they're doing that is by asking businesses who are focused on waste diversion, renewable energy, education to come into their campus and start diverting more trash. When I spoke with the county director, he was like really excited when they put out the request for proposal for this business campus. They had like 45 responses. So we're talking about places or businesses that are looking at mattress recycling and how to do that effectively. They're talking about textiles, like how textiles aren't really like very heavy, but they take up a lot of room. Another one proposal that came in was for a $200 million facility. You might like this, using AI and robotics to sort through mixed use waste. And that is really the exciting part, is what's different here. It's not just we'll find out down the line that we needed this landfill, we filled it up, we're still creating the same amount of waste, we're still putting as much in, but actually we're making a concerted effort to change what goes into the landfill. So this is like a more sustainable, healthier process that's also economically viable outside of people's will, because people want to help the environment, but it's not always top of mind when it comes to budgets.
Right. And actually, I think I mean, the mattress example is a really good one, which is that like you don't want to dump some mattress in a place where it's gonna rot and do nothing, but you don't know what, like you don't know what to do with it. You're like, what am I supposed to do? And so I do think people have will. Like a lot of times, it's not that they want to pollute; it's that they don't have a better option. The idea that you guys are going to specifically look for ways to divert stuff that is problematic it's really encouraging. So they're going to try to divert. They're going to look at everything that comes through and try to find the gold in them hills.
They're going to find the gold in them hills. We know that mattresses are gold, knowing 90 to 95% is recyclable, but they are already pretty successful. They were stoked about this, which is, these nerds are going to nerd. When I spoke with the leaders on this
nerds
program.
They're the top nerds.
Like, I was like, this is deep. This goes deep. There are forums. One of the success stories so far is diverting housing materials, shingles. So shingles off of roofs. Speaking about climate change, our city, we're experiencing more severe storms. And I guess in the past, it was pretty typical for them to divert like 4,000 to 5,000 tons of shingles each year. And this year, they're on track to divert 44,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So and last year was 33. So he's saying like this process, they have specifically also created a construction and demolition debris site. So like a private public partnership, like there's a lot of money to be made here. Maybe I'm exaggerating by saying a lot, but they're making $32 million in revenue, and the entire department who's working on this in the county is paid for by the revenue. Like they're not even being paid for by the taxpayer, the county taxpayer, that is. People pay to have garbage taken. Like, what do you do? Like, we just had a terrible tornado in Menasha and Appleton that just ripped up the city, like a historic tornado. Where do those building supplies go? They could go into the landfill, or they could be reused, and we're doing that pretty well.
So how big is the new sustainability campus? How many years of trash do they say it can accommodate?
Well, it's 12 million cubic yards, which if you could describe that, I'm in a lot of numbers this weekend getting ready for this call. What I can tell you that is easier to picture, it's over 150 feet tall, which is like a over 10-story building. So it's quite big. I was told it's comparable to the landfill that we have had since 1985 that has 2.5 years left. So it's pretty big. But hoping that, we don't have to fill it up at the same speed, and we're getting better at keeping stuff out of it.
Right. And also there are a lot more people in Madison than there were in 1985. So probably, you're going to, even if you're filling it up at the same speed, there's so many more people, you might fill that space faster.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Something I hadn't considered until researching was the fact that trash is getting lighter, too. I want to give a huge shout out to our city recycling coordinator, Brian Johnson, and also I talked with the Dane County director for renewables, who's leading this project. They're both super helpful. Brian was like, our tonnage for how much waste we're putting out to the curb has really stayed consistent, but trash is lighter. So, there are less glass bottles. There are lighter materials. So that's an interesting little fold here.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, one question I had was, why not just buy some land outside? I mean, Dane County in Madison it's a city. It's very rich and prosperous, growing fast, lots of people, very successful metro area. The land values are high. Why not just find some space out in the countryside? You drive 20 minutes outside of Madison. There's lots of land that you could put a new landfill in. Why not do it there?
Yeah. So for what it's worth, it is a little bit like it's not directly in the square of Madison. It's within the county. But the question, I hear your point, which is like, just ship it elsewhere, right? Outside of your county. Why destroy this beautiful place? I think the first question is, it's our trash, right? It's our responsibility. We're making this waste. But the second reason is an economic reason, which is you have to pay tip fees, right? So you have to pay someone else to take that. You also have to consider fuel costs. So those tons of trash every single day, and you're paying the employees to be spending their time driving. Talking about wear and tear, like it starts to become not a feasible plan for your budget. So there are a number of reasons to be at that campus.
So another element of this sustainability campus is education, and the idea is that you and your neighbors are going to somehow learn more about the garbage that you're creating, and how are you going to learn, and then once you learn, how is that going to help at all?
It's a good question, because you want to believe you know better, you do better. But when it comes down to it, being really thoughtful about diverting waste as consumers, as just regular civilians, it's something that is not necessarily easy to do. Like, it's almost a privileged thing. There's not like a ton of research that I found from Madison or Dane County specifically on like how has education shifted people's habits here. I know that there are better recycling classes taught with Sustain Dane. But there is a national nonprofit that looks at that sort of thing, the Recycling Partnership. They've sent out mailers to people in East Lansing, Michigan. And like, is this going to make a difference? And I guess they cut contamination, mixing, recycling the wrong things by a fifth. And that empathetic messaging boosted cart set out rates by 45%. So like there's some evidence that supports it, but there's certainly other evidence that you need some incentives.
I mean, we began with you talking about how 20% of all the garbage effectively in Madison and Dane County is food waste. I think you guys do food scrap composting. Is that going well? Is it not going well?
I heard it's going tremendously well. This is more of a recent effort that has shown a lot of success. They've put out orange scrap stop kiosks across Dane County. So there's like a dozen locations. They have sites at the farmers markets, neighborhood drop-offs where folks can bring their compost. And in year one, thousands of households signed up. And 1 million pounds of food waste got diverted.
We're talking about this a little bit earlier, but you're talking about how the sustainability campus is in some ways designed to be a business, or designed to entice organizations that will make money and therefore reduce the cost to the city of this. And what was amazing to me is that you're building this landfill without taxpayer dollars. How is that possible?
So it's without Dane County taxpayer dollars. So there's a little caveat for us City of Madison residents, because how it works is the county, people are paying for the county to take their trash. And so Madison is one of the biggest customers of the county in taking our trash. So there's a part of it that Madisonians' tax dollars are funding what the county is doing. But the bigger picture is there are no referendums coming from the county to make this happen. So you're not getting charged there. And they're running this sustainability campus as an enterprise. fund. The rest of the county and the rest of the state can really pick this up, and other places as well, to look at building private public partnerships and getting, like, having a business campus is one way, but also a lot of this construction materials, like, they have tons of customers and it's working for them and they're pretty thrilled about it.
Just last couple of questions in this main segment. What happens to a landfill? Does it remain sort of a toxic waste dump? You can't ever go there. Or does it ever become useful land that people can, use for, I don't know what, bird watching?
It's a middle ground. The land, actually, it can have some public uses. You're not going to want to go build a house on top of it because there are still gases. Like, you don't want to put weight on a former landfill like that. You probably don't want to mess with the groundwater, but you can create a park. And actually, Madison, there are a lot of places in our city that are former landfills that people might not even know. Like, our dog parks. We have Olin Park as a dog park, a site over by the old Oscar Mayer factory is a former landfill. There are lots of spaces that are, you can still hike on. And something that's actually really neat about Dane County that they're touting is that they've been planting native prairie grass on the cap sections of the big landfill that we have already. And it's really unique. So they did research into how you could make this place beautiful. And the seeds are actually, they're specifically mixed to be for pollinators, and 400 species of ground nesting bees, but also that they have short roots that won't puncture the clay plastic cap that keeps the landfill shut. So if you drive by the landfill, it's actually beautiful. It's prairie grass, and they're doing a lot of innovative stuff to think about this as not a forsaken ground, but something that it's something that's not a blight. It's actually it's really funny. The name of the landfill is a family's name. They sold their land to the county, and then the county put a landfill on it, and so the landfill got named after them. And the director of the county was like, "I'm excited that this can be Rodfell Park. That they get a little honor on their name outside of a dump."
I remember I was driving in South Florida with my girlfriend, and she pointed out that, like, it was the tallest place in, I don't know if it's all of South Florida or all of Florida, but certainly the tallest place within many, many miles was the landfill, and they called it Mount Trashmore.
Oh my God.
So what can listeners in other cities take away from the Madison experience to make their city a bit better?
I'd say start thinking about your sustainability goals entrepreneurially. Think about, like, how could we make this economically viable for people to want to be in business with us? The funding model can really be a template and worth looking at, and especially for other cash-strapped municipalities. I think that education around sustainability efforts for waste, really, those are some of the first budget lines to be cut. And so getting creative on how you can process your shit and do it effectively is important.
It's not your shit in this case. Shit goes somewhere else. It's your other stuff.
It's your other stuff.
It might be your cat shit.
Yeah.
Let's go to our word on the street segment, Bianca. So you're in Madison, great city of Madison. The summer is ending, which means if you're in Madison, all those Badger students are coming back. All the University of Wisconsin students are coming back. So I just want to talk to you about how much does your city slow down during the summer, and what is nice about having most of the students gone, and what is not nice about having most of the students gone?
I mean, there's like 40,000 students. It's a huge campus, but it's it's a physically huge campus, but everyone else is in their neighborhoods. They really, like, in my own experience there, if you're living on campus, people don't even go past State Street, which people who are on campus tend to stay on campus, and people who are not there maybe drive through, but it tends to be its own universe, and it moves in its own timing. Except for in August when there's move out day and a move in. Then it's going to be total chaos, which is totally relevant to this conversation, and trash pickup.
Well, I assume move out day in May or something. Probably there's all sorts of crazy stuff being dumped on the ground.
Yeah, they call it hippie Christmas here. You can get a lot of nice things, but the city's like, stop doing that. You're really messing up our systems.
So you go and you sort of like you vulture around, you circle around and see where, they dropped a couch off.
They had a brand new 75-inch TV. They just put it on the side. Maybe not 75, but a 50-inch TV. Like the students who, especially and international students, they might come and they're like, I don't need this anymore, and leave out nice stuff. But the city's really trying to. They have actually created a new event for this year called Move-A-Palooza, which is like, please come to the Alliant Energy Center. Bring your mattresses, bring your items, because it rains. Like hippie Christmas becomes pretty foul after a couple days and certainly a week.
Hippie Christmas. Yeah. That is awesome. Bianca Martin, host of CityCast Madison, thanks for coming on Your City Could Be Better. Listen to Bianca every weekday on CityCast Madison.
Thanks, David.
That's all for today's episode of Your City Could Be Better. I am your host, David Plotz. Our producers are Aria Bracci, Priyanka Tilve, Bianca Martin, and Haley Sperling. Our music is by Carl Christensen. If you're enjoying the show, tell your friends, rate it, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to be back next week with another conversation about how your city could be better. I'll see you at the landfill.